Coming up today on the show, as promised, I take you to a little bit of an alternate reality, a parallel universe, as it were, to look at what could have been Sunday for Jaxon Smith-Njigba against the Cincinnati Bengals. He had his best game as a pro. It could have been much, much better. It could have been his breakout performance and turned the tide for the Seahawks, got him in the win column on that one. Is he on the verge of that type of performance, and is there evidence to suggest that he is? I take a little film breakdown today, as promised earlier in the week. Every target and the catches that were left on the field by JSN today on Seahawks Forever.
Welcome to the Seahawks Forever podcast. In-depth analysis on everything Seahawks. And now, here's your host, Dan Viens.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I hope you're having a good week. Seahawks Cardinals Sunday at Lumen Field. Hawks get to come home for back-to-back weeks. They haven't done that yet this year. I'll be at both games. If any of you are going to the games, just let me know. Maybe we can catch up for a beer. Speaking of which, if you really love the show and you want to support me and what I do here, you can buy me a beer at buymeacoffee.com. Link is in the description. Earlier this week on the PFF app with Dana and I, Dana O'Gorman and I, we do our midweek show. We talked about how close it appeared that JSN was going to have a major role in this offense. And it's been a topic of discussion so far this season. Is he being used properly? Is he being wasted? Was the 20th pick a mistake? Kind of a ridiculous notion, but we'll get into that a little bit. Or was it just the issues that Geno Smith was having on Sunday and the offensive line that prevented it from being more? I promised earlier in the week I would look at some all-22 film, and I did that. And at the end of it, the payoff is going to be, I'll tell you literally in numbers what his day would have been if they had taken advantage of all of his opportunities. Much better than it was. Big game Sunday. Is it a must-win game? That's something Dana and I talked about as well. PFF seems to think so, regardless of what you think of them. 59% of their playoff chances based on their analytics. If the Seahawks win Sunday, it drops to 31% if they lose. That seems a little outlandish given how early it is in the season. But look, I think we all agree that this team is close to putting it all together. And they need to this week against an Arizona team that is struggling on defense. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. That way you'll never miss an episode. And if you're listening on audio, also subscribe. That way you get notification anytime there's new episodes. If you're on Apple, leave a review. And if you're on Spotify and you want to get rid of those ads, you can subscribe for 99 cents a month. That link is in the description. Let's get into this. I broke down some Jaxon Smith-Njigba tape from the Bengals game in all 22. And then I'll tally it all up at the end. The day he could have had. Let's do it. So what we know is Jaxon Smith-Njigba against the Bengals finished with 4 catches, 48 yards on 5 targets. Some of the targets were farther down the field, so it felt like probably his best day as a Seahawk so far, right? What we don't know is what might have been. So let's take a look. This is his first catch of the game, 3rd and 4, first drive of the game, 3rd and 4 on the Cincinnati 32-yard line. And this is just the kind of stuff we expected to see out of him after he's drafted, right? Like, it doesn't look like he's the first read. He's the backside read. Geno comes back to him, little in-breaking route, little curl route. Easy completion, right? Second drive, no targets. It was a 3 and out and a punt. No real opportunities there. Third drive. This was one that I kind of missed the first time, and this one's borderline as to whether we're going to give it credit in our hypothetical today. But, I want to be as creative as possible, and I want to be as forgiving as possible, trying to make my point here. But first quarter, 3rd and 11, Cincinnati 44-yard line. He gets open here, but there's some question as to whether, he's the intended target or the design here, or whether Geno really has an opportunity to get back to him. We'll show it to you from the end zone camera here. You see Geno looking to the right. I mean, he's looking for Tyler here. And this is another one that might drive you crazy because when we go back and look at the press box angle again, you're going to see how open Tyler is on this play. And again, why Why doesn't he pull the trigger? I'm trying not to make today about that again. He doesn't, and then he gets pressure, right? But it looks like his progression would have been that he would have come back to the left-hand side. So let's just go back here a second, because once again, you're seeing, Jake Curran gets beat on the outside, and then the pressure actually comes from the inside because Anthony Bradford has his back turned because he's looking to help Jake here. And this guy just comes in and puts pressure on Geno and forces him to get rid of the ball or take a sack. But let's go back to this angle again. And, here's Tyler, right? He's going to run this route, a little post route, and he's wide open. And that's where Geno was looking once he came off of DK, who's down here behind the graphic. And you're going to see JSN kind of leak out here into the flat. And if Geno would have had time to come back to him, if Bradford didn't have his back turned, he was open. He wins his route. Right? See the little break and the little push off? And then he comes right back. He just runs the guy off, this kind of stuff that we thought we were going to see more. Runs him off, kind of comes back, and he's wide ass open, right? Unfortunately, so is Tyler. So let's take another look at that. You see Tyler's open here, and Geno just doesn't have time to come back to him. And you can even see once he is in trouble that JSN starts to come back to the middle, as he should. So there would have been an opportunity for a play there. So I am going to count that just because I really do want to just make the point of what could have been. Third quarter now, second and goal at the Cincinnati 18. This is the interception, right? And we talked about this on the show a couple of days ago. If you want to go back and look at that and the breakdown of what happened here. Again, I think Geno makes up his mind before the snap to throw the football there, plus a little bit underthrown. He could have leaked it out to Colby Parkinson here, or Walker with Parkinson blocking out in front and basically one defender to miss. But a play designed to get JSN the ball for a touchdown. First NFL touchdown. Geno just made his mind up ahead of time. Later in the third quarter, 2nd and 9 at the Seattle 17. To me, this is one of the real positive signs to come out of this game, for all of the hand-wringing about how when we were targeting JSN, they were bubble screens. They just didn't give him an opportunity to get the ball down the field. This is the opposite of that. Just an in-breaking route against zone, middle of the field. Not the biggest window in the world. Right here. And this is what I like about the anticipation on this throw, right? Geno's throwing the ball right here. Nobody's there yet. But JSN's on his way. And that's the kind of thing that, was covered pretty well by the safety there, but there's an opportunity for run after catch there. It's another little thing we can talk about is, are they designing opportunities for him to run after the catch? Because he did it so well at Ohio State. There might have been an opportunity there had the backside support not been as good from the Bengals. So outstanding throw and catch there. Now here's another one where it's hard to tell. And Geno never really had a chance. Third quarter, 3rd and 5 at the Seattle 45. Was JSN maybe the intended target here? And then Geno bails out of the pocket and ends up throwing the football away. Watch it again from this angle. He's going to run kind of a half wheel route and then stop it. Jake Bobo there. So you see him kind of curl out into the flat and start to run a wheel route and then kind of cut it off and hang here. And this might be what Pete was talking about. We'll get to that in a second. And you see right here, he's looking in that direction. He's making his read here, right? Safety's playing really deep. You see JSN kind of coming out there, and this corner's got his head turned in. So there's a chance there. And then, again, let's just back it up a second. Right here, it looks like Geno really wants to throw that ball, and that's where he's looking. But Pete talked on Monday and Tuesday about how the big miss later, that was something they were setting up throughout the game. So maybe the intention here wasn't to throw the ball to JSN, but just to set it up. But, if the shot's there, take it, right? And he cuts off the route, and by that time, Geno just had no shot. Unfortunately, the protection just was starting to break down, and I think this is when, Geno's internal clock kind of got thrown off. He senses the pressure, and hey, I got to get the hell out of there. Because we've seen him time and time again stay in a pocket collapsing in his front like this, but that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. You can't blame him or fault him for trying to get away there. And the fact that he did decide to bail out that way, which is not typically his norm. He did it a couple times in this game, but it's not his default. Tells me that maybe in his head, he was thinking that JSN would have had an opportunity there. Single coverage basically back there. So another play that might have been intended for him. And this one the other day when I ran it, it was cut off at the beginning. It's the full play. First and 10 at the Cincinnati 30. This is the one that got away. And I'm not going to belabor the point on this too much because it's been done by everybody else. It's been done by you all throughout the week. But here it is. He's got him wide open. Jermaine Pratt is in coverage. He's bailing. The safety's turning the other way. So's this one. This is a touchdown 10 times out of 10. Geno could, the ball could slip out of his hand. He could throw a wounded duck down there, and that's a touchdown. He could throw it late, and it's a touchdown. There's no reason. This isn't legitimate pressure. He shouldn't be feeling that. He's got nothing really coming from the backside. He's got protection here. This should be a touchdown. Now, to his credit, Geno took accountability for that this week and said, I need to throw the ball there. I had him on that play. He didn't say, I don't know why I didn't throw the ball, but he kind of implied it. Like, this is the kind of stuff that when they're watching film this week and Carl Smith is in there as a quarterback coach, right? And Shane Waldron, Pete Carroll, like you can't let these get away. You can't. There's nothing bad that could happen on this play. Absolutely nothing. I said I wouldn't belabor the point, but I just can't. This is such a blatant miss. This should have been a touchdown, right? Absolutely should have been a touchdown. We know it. We've seen it. Geno admitted it. JSN, again, another opportunity for his first NFL touchdown. I should have cut this off. My point is that Jaxon Smith-Njigba was in position to have his first breakout game, right? He finishes 4 out of 8 on 5 targets, or 4 for 48 on 5 targets. If you put everything together here, it's 8 total targets, likely 7 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown. That one play where Geno really didn't have a chance to come back to his backside progression where he tried to scramble and got sacked. You want to take that one away. Okay, now we're talking maybe 6 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown. I think that would alleviate a lot of the concerns that they weren't involving him in the game plan and that maybe he wasn't a fit. Pete even talked about, hey, this might have been the first week that he fully felt healed from that broken wrist. What could have been with JSN and the Seahawks in one of those games where a play here or there would have changed everything. All right, so what do you think? Comments? Certainly there have been lots and lots of comments this week on the performance of Geno Smith. Look, I have been a supporter of his. I think I've been fairly critical of him, and I try to be objective. It has to get better. Can't do that anymore. Can't leave plays on the field, regardless of what's going on around him. On those plays that we pointed out, and there were more. There are some plays that haven't even really gotten a lot of attention that could have been big plays that it looked like he was staring right at and couldn't pull the trigger for whatever reason. Can't have that if you're going to be a playoff team. He's got to make those plays. Took accountability this week. He admitted, hey, on film, I have to be better, and I will be. Well, let's see. Still some questions on the offensive line. The injury report today, Evan Brown, still questionable. Damian Lewis. We don't know about Jake Curran. We don't know who's going to be playing where, who's going to be playing what. Are we going to see Jason Peters for the first time? The offense ranks near the bottom of the league in third down, red zone. They're running the ball well according to EPA, but they're not running it enough, and they're not doing it well in the red zone. That's got to get better. Will we see it come together on Sunday? My reaction show won't be until Monday because I am going to the game on Sunday. I find that works better. So tune in Monday. I'll have some sound from Pete Carroll, and hopefully if I get the all-22 by then, I'll have some plays as well. Follow me on Twitter at Seahawks Forever. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the game. And until next time, forever and always, go Hawks. Thanks for watching.